How did I become a collector? Why do I collect numismatics? I present to you a tale in 6 acts. Perhaps a parent or grandparent gave you a peace dollar, maybe in an album, or maybe you had a partial album and needed to fill a date or two. Or perhaps you just decided you'd like to have a peace dollar from each year, but condition didn't really matter. You just wanted to have one, and the example here, which is in good condition, is reasonably priced and easily obtainable relative to more higher grades. In this case, the more you admire your piece dollar, you do notice that it has wear. The rims are worn, the date is starting to go, and on the reverse, the feathers on the eagle are almost gone. And so you decide, well, maybe I would like something in just a little better shape. And that would lead us to Act 2. So in the second act, you begin behaving almost uninterested, but in reality, you're already hooked. The quest for an improved example is already underway, even if you don't realize it. In this case, because the price can easily triple, moving from a good peace dollar to an almost uncirculated 1928 San Francisco peace dollar, you begin to notice quite a few differences. The surface is noticeably lustrous. Much of the frost remains, a significant enough amount so that you can get a cartwheel effect. The edges are much better defined. On the reverse, the feathers are very well represented, and overall, the coin is much more satisfying. However, you soon realize that although you're almost uninterested, you're actually more interested in finding an uncirculated example, an even better example than what we have here. Well, if I haven't crossed the stacking threshold into collecting before this point, in Act 3 there's no denying it, I am now on a brilliant undertaking. The prices double again when you get into the land of uncirculated, where the luster is obvious on the obverse and reverse. The rims are tight. There's noticeably less chatter on Lady Liberty's cheeks. The fields are cleaner. And on the reverse, the eagle feather detail is present. There's just a noticeable lack of wear. Once you've held an uncirculated coin in your hand, well, being seduced by a mint state slab is inevitable. It's sort of like being on the event horizon of a black hole. And once you cross the Rubicon and get too close to the event horizon, it's guaranteed you'll be sucked into the vortex, right down into that black hole, and you will be collecting mint state slabs. You're officially seduced. Yes, the price has nearly tripled again, moving from a brilliant uncirculated example to this mint state 63. Is it the obvious frost everywhere on the obverse and reverse? Is that the source of the seduction? Perhaps some good old fashioned research will do the trick. I think it's time to visit the hallowed halls of the PCGS website. You know, that place where you spend too much time drooling over other people's registered sets, tracking auctions you'll never win. Okay, let's search for the 1928 Peace Dollar, and we'll go to the price guide. And we see the MS65 Plus example that's featured on the page. Let's take a look at the fields. Looks like there's some discoloration. I'm not quite sure what that is, but obviously, oh, there's a gouge on the chin or two, but it obviously didn't overly affect the grade. So it looks like a strong strike. Yeah, yeah. I don't comment if you can identify that toning. The hair surprisingly, matted almost like a 1921. I've seen better. It is a 65. The fields on the reverse look better. Ooh, the eagle's very good. It's very strong. I think I like the reverse better than the obverse. Yeah, it's more of the discoloration. The mint mark, San Francisco. Oh, there's a field gouge. Well, these are the things that marked it down. But it gives you an idea. This is the featured coin. It's hard to find a 28S in really great shape, and they want 678 grand. That's the auction. Wow, man. Anyhow, here are the grades: 61 mint state through 64. The prices are in green, and below that is the population, the number graded. Obviously, 62 and 63 and 64, there's a few thousand. And up on the high side, there was the 65 and a 66 even at 88 grand. You can see the prices basically can easily quadruple, triple, easily, or at least double. Now, the 5 year price history is remarkably stable. That's maybe, what, 15%? The 10 year is also quite stable. That's maybe 20% fluctuation. If you look at the 50-year price history, the lighter blue plot, which is the spot price over the past 50 years. And in general, surprisingly, because often this is not the case, but in this case, the 1928 Peace Dollar, the 1928 Peace Dollar, I should say, does pretty much follow the general spot price throughout the decades. There are occasions where the spot price spikes above beforehand and higher than the graded prices for the slab. Other times, the slab is slightly more stable and doesn't quite fluctuate as frequently as the spot. But in this case, for this particular year in mint, the slab is remarkably mirroring the spot price. Not always the case. We'll return to this price history and spot price analysis a little later in the video. So what happened in 1928? In San Francisco, they made 1.6 million peace dollars. In Philadelphia, 360,000. That's over 4 times fewer coins. I'd really like to know what happened in Philadelphia in 1928. So for the peace dollar, it turns out that at the Philadelphia Mint in 1928, they happened to produce the fewest number of peace dollars for that year, and for every other year that peace dollars were minted. That makes the 1928 peace dollar the key date. Or is it? Because just last year, that same Philadelphia Mint only produced 200,000 peace dollars. I'm asserting here that actually the key date for the peace dollar is actually 2021. So this is a Philadelphia 28 peace dollar in AU condition, probably a lower AU 53. There's still some frost, and it is a stronger strike, in my opinion, than the San Francisco. Of course, it's a member of that low mintage year, 360,649. It's a lower AU, I think, mainly because there's quite a few marks in the fields and in the neck and lower cheek area. The reverse is in better shape. I really prefer the reverse. It still has, I think, a bit more luster on this side. And unfortunately, PCGS, they usually, the grade's based on the lowest grade on either side. So despite the reverse being in better shape, the grade will be based on the obverse. So anyhow, it's still a very nice coin, and it is from the low mintage mint for 1928. But of course, the seduction has already taken full hold, and there is no stopping the urge to find a mint state 1928 peace dollar from Philadelphia. In the sixth and final act, we finally reach bliss with the acquisition of a 1928 peace dollar from Philadelphia, where PCGS has graded this example a mint state 63 plus. The plus sign is a designation used by PCGS indicating the coin has good eye appeal, and that is evident here. The luster is especially good, especially for a 63, bordering obviously on a 64. There are far fewer marks on the chin and cheek areas of Lady Liberty, although the fields are marked, which is what's hurting the grade here. In this example, I think perhaps the reverse is slightly weaker than the obverse, unlike the 1928S we looked at earlier. There's more discoloration, and there's an equal or greater amount of problems in the fields. The eagle strike and the feathers don't seem to have as much detail, which is probably hurting the grade and makes the reverse probably the side that determined the grade. Let's search for the 1928 peace dollar price guides. Yes. And this featured MS66 plus peace dollar is just beautiful. I just see a few marks in the fields and on Lady Liberty's neck. The reverse is just as beautiful as the obverse. Just a tremendous coin. This deep scratch on the face of the eagle is the worst damage on the coin and probably costed at least a couple points. Otherwise, this coin was probably a 68, maybe even a 69, probably 68. And the heritage auction was a mere just shy of $49,000. Amazing. So for the lower mint states, 61 through 64, we see prices ranging from $550 to $1,100. So basically a double from 61 to 64. And definitely 62 and 63 and 64 grades are in a couple thousand, almost 3,000 for 63, which is probably the most common mint state grade. And you can see that the plus designations are rarely given. On the high end, mint state grades of 65 all the way up to 66 plus, a $75,000 coin. Amazing. You can see the prices start to quadruple and will double, then triple, and then quadruple from 65 to 66 plus. So these are very special and rare coins. Only 389 65s, 40 65 pluses, 29 66s, and only 166 plus. Nothing higher. This is why the sixth act that we're in is called Mythical Bliss. It's because bliss is a myth. It's a myth, at least in terms of collecting, because the highest grades are extremely difficult to obtain. These very special coins are essentially unobtainium. In the end, collecting can be considered a tragedy because you can never really obtain bliss. You can never really arrive. Essentially, only a very few collectors have ever really reached bliss. The 5-year price history for an MS63 plus 1928 piece dollar is really stable, looking like 10% or less swing over the last 5 years. It's a good coin to hold, and it's retaining its value very well. The 10-year is not much worse, really 15, maybe 20% swing over the past 10 years. The 50-year history for this coin is interesting. You can see that it peaked in 1980. It took a severe drop by 1995 and then has recovered back in 2010. It has been remarkably stable really since 2005, 2006 until 2022. Bringing in the light blue plot for the spot price over the past 50 years shows a pretty close tracking between the graded piece dollar price history and the curve for the spot price. Both curves are tracking each other fairly well. This is somewhat common. However, there are other coins that don't track the spot price so closely and are oftentimes less affected by the swings of the price of silver over time. Because their collectability is strong throughout, the demand remains high despite the price of silver at any given time. Some collectible coins have remained popular for many decades. Some, in fact, do fall in and out of popularity, as we see here with the peace dollar. Others do not fall out of popularity for as long of time frames or at all in some cases. And I promise to do a video in the future to cover those coins and not just the peace dollar. I stacked the peace dollar because I like it, not because of its price history. I just love Diffencisci's design. However, it's best to follow a diversified approach when combining stacking with collecting. The goal is, just like in your traditional financial portfolio, to diversify your assets across lower and higher risk assets such that if one asset class is down, another is stable or goes up, so that your overall portfolio value remains stable. And I think that is the same goal when it comes to stacking and collecting precious metals. You need to do both. Combining traditional stacking with strategic collecting can improve the overall long-term strength of your holdings in precious metals. Only stacking or only collecting is higher risk than combining them both. The key to collecting is to collect the best performing coins over the last 50 years. And by that I mean coins that remain relatively stable with fewer and less dramatic price swings. When silver spot is down, if you have the right collected coins, they aren't as affected, and perhaps they're even going up, or they go up earlier. And when spot goes up, perhaps your collected coin goes down, but the overall advantage here is your average is a higher average. Your overall asset worth is smoother and less volatile than if you were only stacking or only collecting. I hope you've enjoyed this quest for bliss, Peace Dollar Tale in 6 Acts. It was my intention to explain a brief part of my journey and how I was seduced initially into collecting peace dollars and how it has expanded my knowledge and led me towards collecting other coins, which I'll present in future videos, that provide better performance for collectors over the past 50 years. Thank you.